Hi everyone, welcome to Hidden Job Search course program. This course is a descriptive course about how do you access hidden job opportunities which are never published in the job market, right? You must be applying on LinkedIn, on Naukri.com, on all those job portals, right? But then you're not getting those interview calls. And please don't blame yourself for it because the system is rigged against us, against you, against people like us, right? So you have to understand that system has been built so that they shortlist people, less number of people for interviews, and they get lots of applications to search from, right? So the system is rigged against us, number one. Number two is, with the advent of AI, every person can send super polished resumes and cover letters to these companies, which they can upload on their career websites or on job portals, which is making it even tougher for recruiters and hiring managers to shortlist your profile for interviews, right? So it's not your mistake. Okay, please don't blame yourself for this. Now, in this course, I will explain to you what is the future of job search going to be. And if you don't use this framework, if you don't use this system for job search, you are fighting a lone battle, my friend, right? You are applying with 1,000 other people online whom you don't know, who might be, let's say, better in terms of experience than you, who might be, let's say, applying spring and praying. Even if they are not looking for a job, they might already be having a job, and they are just spring and praying, thinking about getting interview calls. But you might really want that job, right? So what is the alternate strategy of getting a job in this year and beyond? Having said that, let's move towards understanding where and how can we do this job search for the hidden job market. But before that, I would show you actual proof of emails that I've got from three dream companies of mine, where I did this, where I basically use this exact system to get those interview calls. I don't have an IIM background. I am not from IIT. I have never worked for FANG companies. My work experience has always been with high growth startups. If you look at my LinkedIn experience as well, I've always and always worked with high growth startups. So if a person like me can get interview calls using my system that I built from companies like OpenAI, Google Cloud AI, and Salesforce, then I think this can be used by a lot of people in getting those interview calls, which you're not getting right now, and then eventually getting a job offer from those companies. Okay, so let me just showcase a screen of the actual proof email. Okay, so if you see my screen right now, this is the email from the GTM talent acquisition team of Google India, and they have written this email to me, which says, "Dear Ritik, I am Dash from the GTM TA team at Google India. Please apply via my invitation to apply. I am pleased to inform you that our hiring manager's team, the name of the hiring manager, has reviewed your profile and expressed interest in you for this role position within Google Cloud." Right? This is an IC role based in Bangalore, though we remain open in Mumbai. Okay, so all of these things has been written, and all the interview process, which is the RRK round, GCA round, and you must be knowing, if somebody has given an interview at Google, they must know about all of these rounds. So this is the actual email that has come to me on 11th of May, time 1:37 p.m. Actual proof email that I got this email from Google using my exact system that I've sent for getting these access to these job opportunities. Okay, so this is proof number one. I'll now move to proof number two. Okay, so this is the second proof email, which is from OpenAI, which says next steps with OpenAI for Ritik Bakshi. It says, "Hi Ritik, thank you for your time with the team so far. I have great news. We would like to move to the next stage of our interview process, which will be a series of 3 to 4 interviews." Right? So I'm saying, again, this is again a mail from OpenAI, which is actual proof, 9th of March, 8:39 a.m. IST. So this is exactly how I have got the interview calls from OpenAI as well. Okay. Now moving to the Salesforce, actual proof email for the interview. Just give me a second. Okay, so this is the third proof, which is the interview call from Salesforce. Again, this talks about the date, 7th of May, 2026. Time is 3:14 p.m. And this is the interview call that I got from Salesforce. So these are the actual proof that I wanted to share with you. Okay, now that you have seen the actual proof of emails from these companies to me, now that you trust me, Now, let me share you the exact system that I built for myself, which you can also replicate for your job search and get interview calls at your dream companies. Okay, so let me start with my, sharing my screen. Okay, so now let's discuss about the job markets. Okay, there are two types of job market. First is the published job market, which you have direct access to. You have access to LinkedIn, Naukri.com, all these job portals. Then you have access to career websites where you directly upload your resume and apply, right? So that is a published job market. Then there is an unpublished job market where you don't have any access to, right? So that basically is a market where there are lots of opportunities for which, let's say, the job description is written but the budget is not approved yet, right? Let's say even the JD is not written at all. The hiring manager has a need in his mind, but he wants somebody who can solve a particular problem. And then that hiring manager would have somebody in his network who he would reach out to directly, right? Or let's say if he doesn't have access to those people in his network, he might reach out to some senior leader in the industry and ask for references, recommendations for certain people who can solve that specific pain point of that hiring manager, right? So that is how these unpublished jobs are getting filled. Then these are also filled by, let's say, warm referrals. These are filled by internal job postings. These are filled by promotions. Let's say somebody wants to get promoted internally in the company, they can look for jobs which they want to apply for. So these jobs are somewhere where nobody, no ordinary person has access to, right? Now, most people fight for 30% of this published market, right? By the way, this 30% is always shrinking. It is coming down to 20% as per recent research, right? So most people fight for this 30%. Nobody is trying to cater to, or let's say, position themselves for that 70% of hidden job market, right? That is what I'm teaching here. Okay, so let's try to understand the entire thing in more detail. So let's understand the math here, right? So 70% of the hidden market jobs getting filled before they are ever posted publicly. Then for the average application that you basically apply for on career websites, or let's say on LinkedIn or Naukri or Monster.com, you are fighting with, let's say, 800 resumes on average, right? This is again based on research. Then the hiring manager, even if he sees your profile, it is only for 8 seconds he has to profile you. The average time a recruiter or a hiring manager spends on your profile is 8 seconds, right? Now, again, as I mentioned before, this is not your mistake. This is not your fault. This is the system right now which we are operating in. And there has to be a proper way or a solution that you can bypass and you can reach out to these hiring managers or recruiters directly and get those interview calls and ultimately get placed. Now let's talk about my system, which is about running 3 parallel tracks simultaneously. The first track is your hiring manager track, where you reach out to the hiring manager directly. Okay. Now most people, what they do is they make this mistake of reaching out to these hiring managers with their resume, and they just say that, you know what, hi, this is my profile, please find attached my resume. If you have a relevant opening or a job, please let me know. Regards, blah blah blah, right? And this is the biggest mistake people make, because you know what, these hiring managers are not only doing hiring, they are at a senior position. They have a lot of responsibilities, they have a lot of KRA KPIs to look at. They have their own targets, they have their own schedule. Do you really think that you will send these messages out on LinkedIn or on email and they would respond to you? They will not. Okay, because they are getting so many applications from recruiters, from their own sourced applications. It is really impossible for them to shortlist you basis this message. Now what you should do is you should reach out to them with research driven approach, where you'd research about the company they are working for and you research about a specific problem that they are facing in their role, which they are looking to solve. How do you do that? You'll do that by doing deep research on that company, by understanding what are the problem statement that they are facing, and then looking at your achievements in the past where you have been able to solve that exact pain point, exact problem. And then you reach out to the hiring manager with that research driven approach, and then you will start getting those interview calls, because then that guy, that hiring manager, would look at you not as a candidate. He would look at you as a problem solver, right? Then the second track is about the hiring manager, the recruiter track, where The recruiters, they have one critical work that they do every day. They have to shortlist candidates. Now, what you can do is, so that they can shortlist you among a pool of profiles, right? So what you should do is, you should reach out to them by making their job easier. Okay, how do you do that? You reach out to them and say that, you know what, I have gone through the JD of this profile. JD is job description of the profile, and basis this job description, I feel that this is completely and 100% relevant to my profile. What you have done, you have basically helped them do the hard work. Because when you send them applications, randomly, then they need to basically open your profile, look at your resume, look at the keywords, look at all of these important things that they want to look at in your profile, and then shortlist you. But if your message says that I have done the hard part, I have done that thing, then it makes that recruiter think that this guy or this girl, this lady, has done all the hard work that was required to be done on her part, right? And then they would start looking at you from a different lens. I'm not saying you will get immediately interview calls, or let's say they will reach out to you. No, right? But then this is a first step. Second step is about building trust with them, building some sort of, connections with them. Let's say in terms of, how do you make sure that they trust you? So people in their connections, you can tell them that, you know what, I'm also connected to this person who is part of your LinkedIn network. If you want to reach out to them before you reach out to me, here is what you can do. Here is where you can reach out to them. And you inform your friend in advance. Then if the recruiter reaches out to you for some sort of recommendation, please say good words, or let's say you just inform them in advance. So that is how there are lots of techniques that you can do, which you can do, where you can reach out to these recruiters, and then you always use different angles, completely different context, so that you make their job easier. So the point is, whosoever you're reaching out to, think of them as somebody who should get some context and value out of your message. If your message has no context and no value, nobody will read it, let alone respond to it. Okay, so that is what you should do. Third is your referral strategy, where you reach out to your warm connections, people you already know in your connections. You reach out to them in your target companies, and reach out to them with value. Again, don't reach out to them blindly and ask for a job. Give value. In my enterprise sales experience for the last 12 plus years, the most important thing that I've learned is, always and always provide a lot of value upfront. Give so much of value upfront that people are then obliged to then respond to you, right? And if you don't do that, nobody's entitled to respond to you, right? So you always should basically, your message should always be about value first, context first, and then you should build relationships with them, and then try to ask for your whatever, your job search or any other thing that you want from them. Okay, so then it's about the one mindset shift that you need to have. Very, very important. Most people are just job seekers. When I say job seekers, they have got no context. They are just sending out random applications, right? They are just behaving like a job seeker. Instead, you should behave like a problem solver. What I mean by that, you should always think of yourself as somebody who is a healer, right? This world has a lot of problems that needs to be solved, right? What have you done in your career up until now, where you have solved certain problems? You might be, let's say, an engineer, you might be a marketer, you might be a product manager, you might be a sales guy, you might be a finance guy. What are the problems that you have solved in your career? Reach out with that problem solving approach. If you use that problem solving approach in your applications, in your messaging, you're bound to get more responses. Okay, and the harshest truth I want to tell you, companies don't care about you. Companies care about their problems that they want to solve. And if you are that person who can solve that problem for them, then they would be interested in you. Otherwise, if you are very, very good, right, but you are not coming across as a person who can solve that specific problem of that company, they will never ever call you for an interview, let alone for a job. Okay, so This is something which I want to teach you. Now let me talk about one framework that is very, very important, right? Which most people don't know, which most people miss, and they just apply to random companies. They get those random jobs, and then they burn out in, let's say, 6 months or 1 year, and then they leave that job again, right? This is a framework that I've developed myself when I was testing this system for myself, which was about how do I shortlist and target companies. Okay. And the framework that I developed was, it is called as TASC, which is a company life stage framework, where T stands for turnaround, A stands for accelerated growth, S stands for stable, and C stands for challenger brands. So these are the four life stages of companies. You can just think about any company in the world, and those companies will either basically be categorized into turnaround, or accelerated growth, or let's say stable, or let's say challenger brands. Now, how does this help you? Okay, most people target companies on brand name, salary, on who is hiring. Nobody's asking, is this company the right company for my current life stage? Because see, you might be a person who is, let's say, 28 years old, right? Who is single, who doesn't have much financial liabilities, and you are okay to experiment and take higher risk of joining a high growth startup, right? As opposed to a person who is, let's say, 40 years old, and who already has a kid, let's say a home loan EMI, a car loan EMI, and that person might not be very okay or comfortable with working with a high growth startup. They might be okay to work with a stable company, right? So this is what I meant by understanding your current life stage and matching your current life stage with the company's life stage framework. Okay, so now if I talk about these companies, let me talk about, first of all, a couple of things more. Yeah, so now what are these turnaround companies? Let's understand that. These are the companies who are at a stage where, let's say, their revenue is declining, they have a major restructuring that is happening, they have a new leadership that has recently joined, and they have, let's say, been in losses for the last couple of years, but now they are turning it around. Okay, and they want people who are able to execute at that level, who have already worked with these companies before, and they can come and then solve those problems for them, right? And people who are comfortable with a lot of complexity, ambiguity, who are scrappy. Most of the companies, they ask for scrappy people who are scrappy, who can work in ambiguity, who don't have a process, who can work without a process, and they can build a process themselves. These are the people who should work for these companies. And and it's about matching your life stage, where you are right now in your career, in your life personally, with the company's life stage, because this is how you can then choose companies where you can uh, you know you can at least work for 2 to 3 years or 4 years. Because what happens is, uh, I've seen many people joining companies, and they get burnt out because they think that what, they are not aligned with the company's vision or mission, and then they say that what, I want to just I'm burnt out, I want to leave. So now, this is a company where the risk level is high. It's a high growth startup, high growth company. Now, the learning and the career acceleration can be very, very high in these companies. Okay, so it is best for people who can absorb risk, who have a financial cushion, who are young in their career. They can take a lot of risks, right? You want fast, deep learning as compared to learning which is not that deep, right? As compared to, let's say stable brands, and you thrive in ambiguity, and you have a lot, you can make a visible impact quickly and rise up the ranks quickly as well. Okay, these companies are called as turnaround companies. Just think about your company, think about the companies you have worked with earlier or right now as well in your career. Are those companies falling under turnaround, or any other companies which I'm talking about? Now let's talk about companies which are in their accelerated growth phase. These are the companies who have already raised their Series B to C to D rounds, and now they are, let's say, looking at 50% to 100% yearly growth. These are high growth startups again, but they are scaling rapidly. They are growing very fast. Now, what do these companies need? These companies need system builders. These companies need people who can scale their systems, right? And now, if you have worked with these sort of companies before, then you're better placed at applying for these companies and shortlisting and targeting these companies because you have exactly worked with this motion, right? Now, the risk level is medium because they've already achieved their product market fit. Now they are scaling rapidly. So the risk level is slightly lower as compared to the first turnaround stage companies, right? So look at your life stage. People, let's say, I'm just giving you an example, right? So let's say people from 28 to 35 years of age, they have no heavy financial commitments. They can look at these companies and try to establish themselves in these companies. Okay, companies like Lead Squared, companies like Darwinbox, Whatfix, these are high growth startup companies, right? So I've worked with Lead Squared personally. So yeah, these companies can fit into these sort of companies. Now let's talk about the other one, which is the stable companies. These companies are majorly companies which are stable, which are, let's say, companies which have, let's say, they have already grown at a very large scale. Now they're just trying to grow at, let's say, 10% year on year or 15% year on year, and they're okay with it because these are big, large IT companies, enterprise companies, right? So they have an established brand, their revenue is predictable, right? And there are clear career paths. Promotions take time, right? There's no steep learning of sorts, right? The risk level here is low because these are already established companies, as I mentioned, right? Companies like SAP, Oracle, IBM, Salesforce, right? Again, people can choose as per their life stage, right? Now, let's talk about the other uh, company stage, which is the challenger brands. Okay, now let's talk about challenger companies. These are the companies which are disruptors in the market, right? So these companies are challenging the status quo. They are, targeting the established incumbents in the market. For example, companies like Anthropic. I think a couple of years back, they were just a small company which were just trying to raise funds. But then now they have completely surpassed enterprise revenue, competing with OpenAI, right? So these are the companies which are, let's say, they're aggressively, challenging the companies which are incumbents in the market, right? Which are established brands, and these companies need mission driven professionals, right? People who just want to win, right? And they want high energy people, they want to capture market share. So you can look at these companies, basis your previous experience, or let's say currently what is happening in the market, right? Again, risk level is medium to high in terms of the job, but then you would learn a lot, and if the company's culture is good, you would definitely be at the right place, right? So again, it is best fit for people who are competitive, mission driven, who want high impact, high energy, right? Who are ready to fight for market share every single day. That is what these companies are all about. I just given you a few examples like Freshworks and Darwinbox as compared to, let's say, Zendesk or SAP, right? These companies, they don't ask for permission; they just go and grab the market share, right? So this was a TASC framework of shortlisting companies. Now, the core question that you need to ask yourself is, which kind of companies in the current market scenario do I actually want to work with, right? Given your current life stage, right? Now, let me explain this to you in a very simple way. Let's say you are 28 years of age, right? And you have no kid, you have no financial commitments. You might want to work with high growth, high risk companies, right? Companies who are challenger brands, companies who are in their turnaround phase. So you might want to work with these brands. Let's say you are 35 years of age with, let's say, a kid and some financial commitments like a home loan EMI or a car loan EMI, for example, right? So you might want to work with companies which are, let's say, in their accelerated growth stage, or let's say which are stable brands. So depending upon your life stage, you should choose a company that you should work for. And before even choosing a company, look at company's life stage, right? And then map and match that company's life stage to your current life stage, right? And then look and shortlist, or let's say target those companies where you can look for a job. Okay, so this TASC framework makes you answer this question before you target any single company. Okay, so and again, see, the point is, again, these same frameworks, they can work for different people at different stages of their life. I'm not saying that every person at 28 can or should work for a high growth startup. At 28, for example, even if you don't, let's say, have a kid or you don't have any financial commitments, you still want to work for a stable company. That's your prerogative. That's your choice. I'm not saying you have to always work for a high growth company. I'm just saying that basis the trends of what people do, this is what people do, right? So, but you can choose to, let's say, work for a stable brand at 28, and you can, let's say, at 40, may choose to work for a turnaround company or a company which is in its challenger phase, right? So completely depends on you, uh, on how you want to approach your job search and how you want to target those companies. Okay, now this is just the beginning, right? So today in this lesson, in this entire course, what you have learned is that there are two types of markets. One is the unpublished job market, and other one is the published job market. You only look at published job market, but there is an unpublished market which is 70% of the job which is there, right? So you don't look at that market because it is not visible to you. I wanted to basically showcase and tell you these markets exist. I've shown you actual proofs of getting interview calls at my dream companies which I targeted using my system. Then I showcase to you why online applications are a low probability game, because you are basically competing with thousands of applications, right? When you're competing online with these online portals. Now, I also showcase to you what are these three parallel tracks which you should be, deploying in your current job search strategy, which is the hiring manager track, the recruiter track, and the referral track, right? Then the mindset shift from being a job seeker to a problem solver. That is something which you need to change yourself. If you don't change this mindset, no matter what you do, your messaging, your resume building, your interview giving techniques, it will all be just off as a job seeker. You cannot be operating at a peer level if you are not having a problem solving approach, right? Then I showcase to you the TASC framework of shortlisting companies. This talks about how do you shortlist companies based on their life stage and your your personal life stage as well, right? So this is the complete course that I developed for you. Now, what comes next in the full system is I have built this entire hidden job search operating system where I've showcased and built all these frameworks. We can go even deeper into, let's say, target-based framework where we do deep research of each tier one company we want to target in 15 minutes using AI, right? The exact outreach message that gets hiring managers to respond, right? Then the proof that you can showcase, or let's say your achievements you have accomplished in the past, how you can use that in your outreach messages so that the hiring manager thinks of you as a person and they can trust you even before giving you that interview call. Okay, now I will also be showcasing and teaching you how to build this multi-outreach strategy, message by message, right? Which is completely ready to, send to these hiring managers basis your profile, customized for your job application, right? I'll also showcase to you how to build a company intelligence brief, a document which will basically make you stand out next to none in comparison to people who are just randomly applying online. Okay, and then how do you reach out to hiring managers using a problem solution deck, which becomes where you become their thinking partner, you become a peer partner whom they trust, and then they are able to give you those interview calls, they invite you for conversations, and eventually you get hired, right? So this is what I've been building. And now this program is right for people who are working professionals either in tech domain, engineering, non-tech, for example, let's say in business domain, marketing, product manager, sales, business analyst, finance, any sort of role in non-tech or tech, you can definitely apply for this program, right? The condition is that you should have minimum 1 year of experience. This is not for freshers. This is for people who are serious about taking their job search into their own hands. Because see, in today's scenario, not many things are in your control. But if you want to, let's say, understand how to do job search the right way and target your dream companies in 3 to 6 months of time with this system that I've built, if you approach this with an open mind, I assure you that you'll get far more interview calls as compared to your current situation where you're not getting interview calls at all. Okay. Now, this is for people who want a system for life. This is not a quick fix sort of a program. This is for people who are ready to change their approach and not just act like normal job seekers. Okay, this is not for people who are freshers. So freshers, please don't enroll for this program. Okay, this is not for people who want a job tomorrow with the system. It will not happen overnight. It has to be a sequence of outreach messages, a proper system that I've developed, which I can teach you, right? And then if you're not ready to put in the work behind this system. If you're not patient enough to wait for 3 months or 6 months to get that interview call or interview calls, then this system will not work for you. Okay. And this is not for you if you want somebody else to, let's say, do your job search. It will not happen. You have to basically fish for yourself. Okay. Now, the other thing I want to talk to you about is this is the founding member price right now. You would be able to go to the YouTube description of the video and find the link of this hidden job search operating system program. The current price, which is a founding member price, is 9999, which is inclusive of taxes. This will go to 14999 on 15th of June. Okay, so if you want to access this at a very good price right now, this is the best price that is available right now, and this is only going to increase with every passing fortnight, right? So what is inside this job operating system? This is a 5 complete modules, 20 plus videos, self-paced recorded videos, where I would teach you the exact system that I built for myself. Target deep company research framework. Then we have proof capability alignment framework. We have multi-touch outreach strategy templates, which you can use for your direct outreach with the hiring managers. I'll showcase to you how to build your company intelligence brief template. I'll showcase how to build a problem solution deck, which you can share with your hiring managers and get those interview calls. And every month, I will do one live Q&A session for the next 6 months, so that I will teach you and guide you in every step of the way. I'll take all the questions on your outreach and help you with real-time strategies on how to get those interview calls. Okay, you've got 6 months of access of the LMS, completely self-paced. Watch at your own pace. It's recorded, and you get one live session as well every month. Okay, this is again for minimum 1 year of experience is required for this program. If you are a fresher or you have less than 1 year of experience, please don't apply. I will have to refund your money. Okay, thank you so much. The enroll now link is in the description of the video. Please enroll for it, and once you enroll for it, I will be waiting for you inside in the LMS. Take care.